Let's hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Puck It with Jo. Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday, January 29th. We've got 5 games on the ice. Welcome to Puck It with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV. Now we're going to break down every single one of these games, and we will do the recap at the end. Great to see you guys already jumping into the show. So thanks for being here. Make sure you guys drop those comments below so we can discuss what you're liking out there. Let's jump into these matchups. Now, it was a good day on the ice. Let me know what you actually cashed with me yesterday. We had a lot of those player props. A lot of those games just went the right way. The bounce back we needed from the day before, those overs and unders just didn't go the way we wanted the day before. So yesterday, great day out there on the ice, and it was a full slate. We really started off strong in those games as well, getting those first periods as both teams to score those goal scorers. Troy Terry came out and answered the call yesterday as well for the Anaheim Ducks. So it was great to see him come out, get that goal right away, and not make us sweat that one. So let's jump into tonight's 5 games. We're going to kick it off with the LA Kings taking on the Florida Panthers. Now, this one, the puck will drop at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight. So let me just pull up odds here on FanDuel for this game. We are seeing the LA Kings coming in at plus 122 on the road. I know it's tempting here for the LA Kings to grab them plus 122, but I don't think it's the right side. I'm looking at a lot of these lines tonight, and I am leaning on the favorite. So we got to find some way to get value in betting the favorites today. Not a lot of times do I love favorites overall, but today is one of those days. So the Florida Panthers at minus 146 here on the money line. You guys know that's out of range where I want to bet. This total is sitting at 5.5. The under 5.5 is minus 128. I do think that is the right side. The under 5.5 at minus 128. If you don't want to lay that juice, completely understandable. I struggle to see this one going over that total unless we have a situation where it is 3-2 and the LA Kings tie it up and push this one to overtime. So that is my caution with the total. Now, looking at goaltending, we have Bobrovsky expected in goal here for the Florida Panthers and Darcy Kemper for the LA Kings. I like what both of them bring to the table. I do think we have a strong goaltending battle, and we look here as well at these defenses. These defenses have been so strong all season. Both of these teams really have been struggling a little bit offensively. I'm going to circle one player that I love here for the Florida Panthers because I do think they get the win. Again, too juicy. We have seen that money line drop, though, as money starts to come in here for the Kings. So it is moving in that direction. If you're watching the show and you're seeing them at minus 130, I do think a minus 130 price is fair for the Florida Panthers, but it is hockey. Any team can get a little bit of puck luck. So if you don't like laying that juice, completely understandable. I would lay it at minus 130. But I'm going to circle Reinhart. Sam Reinhart here has been an absolute stud for the Florida Panthers, and he's got 29 goals on the season, you guys, and you know what that means, coming up for 30 goals tonight. So I think Sam Reinhart for the anytime goal at plus 175 holds so much value. So 53 points on the season. We are looking at 29 goals and 24 assists. Let's get another goal tonight. Goal number 30 for plus 175. Now, the home team has won 5 of the last 6 meetings between these two, leaning us towards the Florida Panthers. When you look, though, the LA Kings did win the last matchup, and it was just last Wednesday. So that sudden revenge factor is there for Florida. The LA Kings won that in a 2-1 game. So these teams play in tight games. We have seen the LA Kings cover the puck line in their last 8 as a dog versus the Florida Panthers. So they're very tight games. If Florida goes up by 1 goal, you could come back in on the LA Kings plus 1.5 on that puck line. Currently, you're not getting any value there, but it could be a nice live betting situation. Now, if the Kings go up first, I will be hitting Florida straight up on that money line. I do think that they get the win here on their home ice. They're off a poor loss to the Vegas Golden Knights, in which they are only able to put up 1 goal and did allow those 4 to come raining in. Spencer Knight was in net in that game and not Bobrovsky. So that's what we wanted to see. We had Vegas for the win. in that matchup, fading Spencer Knight out there, and it proved to be the right side. Now with Bobrovsky in net versus Darcy Kemper, I do think Florida on their home ice, even though this is the first game home off a road trip, can get it done. Now they went 2-2 on that road trip. They have the Chicago Blackhawks on deck on Saturday and the Isles on Sunday. So now that they're returning home from this road trip, this could be a fade situation in one of those games when we look ahead to the weekend because of the back-to-back, just getting home, having to face the LA Kings when they get home. It's a tough scheduling spot then going into a weekend back-to-back at home. So we'll look at those games as we get into the weekend. But looking again here at the LA Kings, fantastic team here. We know what they're able to do. They haven't had that road record that we expected this season. They've been a stronger home team than they have been out there on the road. 11-12-5 on the road this season. This is a team that last year it was like you take them on the road. This year it is you take them at home and not on the road. Matthew Tkachuk and Barkov have been heating up as well. Matthew Tkachuk has 15 goals and 29 assists on the season. Barkov, 11 goals and 30 assists. So definitely, if you want to look at the points here for these guys, parlaying the points for Barkov and Tkachuk, and then Reinhart. Let me just move my chair down. Sorry, my chair was a little high. So that is where I'm looking. I expect the Florida Panthers to bounce back, especially revenge angle here. They're at home, Bobrovsky in goal. I do think the strong trends to the under should be noted. 5-2 in the last 7 meetings to the under. I do like the under 5.5 in this one. I'm cautious of the under 4.5 because this also could be a 3-2 win for the Florida Panthers in OT. So very tight game here between these two. Something to note as well, the Kings have dominated the last 10 matchups, going 7-3. But again, the home teams won 5 of the last 6. So the Kings have had that home ice advantage. Yeah, Troy Terry. It was great to see Troy Terry just light it up in the first. It was like, it felt like the easiest cash. As soon as he cashed, we were like in that game already. So Hall, good afternoon to you as well. And yeah, if you guys can hit that like, subscribe, and share, retweet, I would so appreciate it. What and tag went crazy. Yeah, what a game, hey? Like both of them. Just fantastic out there last night. OT cashed on Vegas. Congratulations on the OT bet with Vegas last night. The Blackhawks did handle business. So let's go into the next game here with the Minnesota Wild. Now, the Minnesota Wild have lost Kaprizov. This is something major to know. Not a great time to lose Kaprizov, but when we look ahead, we do have the break for the Four Nations coming up. So Kaprizov, lower body injury. Of course, in hockey, they don't tell us that. And people are like, what do you mean? Like his whole lower body? No, they're not going to tell us what part of his lower body needs surgery. They just don't in hockey because, well, in hockey, you have the players go after that certain spot of their body that they know is weak. Yes, with Ovi, we all knew exactly what happened, but they keep some players secret and they tell us some and they just don't tell us others. So Kaprizov off for a minimum of 4 weeks for the Minnesota Wild. Now the Minnesota Wild are 4-6 in the last 10 games, and they're taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs with a pretty hot Austin Matthews right now. So the Toronto Maple Leafs are -178. We know we always have to pay extra juice on this team, especially when they're at home. It's a betting public favorite here in the Toronto Maple Leafs, but I do think they're the right side today. So again, we got to try to find some value here with the favorite. We got a total of 5.5, -112 to the over and -108 to the under. Looking at how these teams are sitting right now, the Florida Panthers are just behind the Toronto Maple Leafs in the Atlantic. So we do have Toronto sitting first in the Atlantic. Florida's second. If Florida gets the win tonight, I do believe they overtake that spot in the Atlantic. So we know the Toronto Maple Leafs off of 2 losses are just going to be coming here so hard to get the win. I think they have every opportunity to get the win. So they've lost their last 2. Saturday was on the road to the Ottawa Senators. They lost that one 2-1. It was a one-off road trip, you guys. So it was kind of a good fade situation there for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The price looked too good not to jump in on them. We got them at -105, you guys, and I still was kicking myself. I ended up coming back in on the Senators at the end of the day. I hedged my bet out of that one because it looked like the books were begging us, and that's exactly what they were doing. So always watching those lines, just like Colorado yesterday. The books were begging us to take Colorado, and we saw Colorado fall apart in last night's game. So when a line looks too good to be true, It's too freaking good to be true, you guys. It throws up those red flags every single way. So make sure you always, when you look at games, if you're looking at them yourself, look what you think those lines should be and then go into the game. Look at that line on the book and then think, why is this so different than what you were thinking? And then from there, start looking into what you could see out there on the ice. So that is a huge advantage, making sure you look for what you want before you actually see what the value is. So looking here at Toronto, like I said, they lost their last two. They're home for this game, and then Saturday kicks off a 4-game road trip. So they went out on the road for a couple games, and they went out on the road for one game. Now they're back home, and then they've got a 4-game road trip loading. So not a great scheduling spot, but I look at the Minnesota Wild. They are off that win versus the Chicago Blackhawks 4-2 in their last game out. And without Kaprizov on the ice, and then also on a first night of a back-to-back, tomorrow they have Montreal on deck. I just don't think this is a spot for the Wild to really step up versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, they did win the last meeting. It was all the way back in November, 2-1 win, and they've won their last 4 on the road versus the Atlantic. We know this team is strong. This is the best road team in the whole league. They've gone 18-5-3 on the road this season, sitting third in the Central. Again, we have Toronto, fantastic at home. First in the Atlantic, 19-10. So we've got a strong home team versus the best road team in the NHL. And I do think this one, they battle it out, but I think the Leafs walk away with a 4-2 win. So looking at the Leafs on the puck line, that is where I'll go. I'll lay the 1.5 on the puck line with the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's coming in at plus 142. For them to get things done. Now, I do think looking at the goal scorers, probably the best way to go in this game, just prop betting it. Matt Boldy has been strong for the Minnesota Wild, and we know he does step up with Kaprizov off the ice. 4 goals and 7 assists in the last 10. If you want to prop for the Wild, it's Matt Boldy. When we look here at the Toronto Maple Leafs, Mitch Marner has been great as of late. I look at Mitch Marner for the points, but I love Austin Matthews here. Austin Matthews in his last 10 games, 8 goals and 4 assists. For the anytime goal tonight, it's juicy at minus 105, but worth laying that juice. And then the 2+ points, you're getting him at plus 250. So I do think Austin Matthews can be involved in a goal and an assist. Can he get 2 goals? He absolutely could. If you take him up to 2 goals, you're getting great plus money. Like I said, 8 goals and 4 assists in the last 10. So Austin Matthews will be my go-to here for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I think it's just the best bet of the game. Ooh, look at that big one, Larry. I love where you're going. Matthews, Jonathan Marchessault, Jack Hughes, and Lundell. Anytime goal parlay. I love those anytime goal parlays, Larry. Let us know what value you're getting. You guys, I think that is worth a sprinkle for sure. Yeah, the numbers are always key. Look at those numbers. It tells you a lot what the sports books are thinking and where they're begging you to take people. You're rolling with Vancouver and Toronto on the money line. Little nervous for Vancouver tonight versus the Nashville Predators. We're going to get into that one in a couple minutes. And Lara, yeah, let's make some freaking money today. You are so right. Moving on to the next game, we have the Philadelphia Flyers with the puck dropping here at 7 o'clock Eastern as well versus the New Jersey Devils. Now, looking at this one, the Flyers are coming in at plus 152 and the New Jersey Devils at minus 184. The Devils are a hard bet right now, and this line has dropped significantly. They're almost a $2 favorite coming in to this game. Now at minus 184, the puck line minus 1.5 is plus 140. I wouldn't touch the Devils. I do think the Flyers have not only the opportunity of covering the puck line, but getting the outright win again versus the New Jersey Devils. Total of 5.5. Minus 118 to the over, minus 104 to the under. Looking at the Flyers, if you're a little concerned, that puck line, though, is too juicy, plus 1.5 at minus 172. That could be a live betting situation if you see the Devils go up first, coming in on the Flyers at plus 1.5. So something to look for out there. But Jake Allen, I don't trust you guys in net for the New Jersey Devils. We know Jacob Markstrom's out with that knee injury, and Jake Allen versus the Flyers in his career, and this is where it looks really bad. 2-5 in 7 games versus the Flyers with an 888 save percentage and a 3.07 goals against average. I just can't back him in this situation. I do think the Devils will not be as strong defensively as they need to be to give him the protection in this matchup. So the Devils also are 4-3-3 in their last 10. I just can't get behind them, especially at the price you have to lay. This is a one-off home game for this team as well. They're home off 2 on the road, and they're on the road Sunday versus the Sabres, and Tuesday versus the Pens, and then back home Thursday versus Vegas before the break. So that is their look-ahead schedule. I don't love where they're sitting in this one-off home game, especially with how they've been struggling. Now, looking at the other side, looking at the Flyers, we did see them win on Monday. So you do have that sudden revenge angle here for the New Jersey Devils, but this team isn't completely healthy, right? Nico Hischier is still listed as a day-to-day. Not sure if he's going to be out there. There's too many players that are listed as day-to-day for me to back them as well. So looking at the Flyers, they did win on Monday. They got that 4-2 win on Monday. Ergen should be in goal tonight. Now he's 4-2 in 6 games in his career versus the Devils. That goals against average is a 2.82 with a 898 save percentage. So the Devils still have been able to score on him, but I think they struggle to be able to get the win tonight. So this is the first game of a back-to-back for the Flyers. They do have another Metro opponent on deck, so it's a hard situation, but you're looking at them stepping up tonight. This is the third team in the Metro here with the Devils. We see the Flyers sitting 6th in the Metro. They're 11-11-5 out there on the road. In divisional matchups, they've gone 6-7-1. They're taking on the Isles tomorrow, who are 7th in the Metro. So you've got to think the best foot forward is tonight versus the Devils. They've won both meetings this season, including the one on Monday, 4-2. So I'm going to roll here with the Flyers. I can't not with that price. That price at plus 152. I don't think the Devils are healthy enough to get the win, especially with Jake Allen in net. Now, if you want to look here at that live betting situation, and why I bring it up for the Philadelphia Flyers is they've struggled on the road in the first period as a dog. They've lost their last 5 on the road as a dog in that first period. So Devils first period is where I would go if you want to really back the Devils here. Take them in the first period. My problem is I'm not sure if they're going to be able to score on Ergen in that first period. So I would look then, if they do, to come back in on the Flyers. Plus 1.5 or straight up on the money line if you really want to. So that is where I'm going with that game, you guys. Let's move on. You think Reinhart, Boldy, and Stamkos. Yeah, Steven Stamkos for the Predators tonight, Matt Boldy for the Minnesota Wild, and Sam Reinhart for the Florida Panthers. Blake, I love that. I do think all 3 of those guys can get those goals tonight. So great one there. I see all of your guys' parlays coming in. Larry's parlay, that is plus 3991. 39.91. Okay, so that is, just to recap for anyone just joining us, Austin Matthews, Marchessault, Jack Hughes, and Lundell, anytime goals for anytime goal scorers coming in parlay together at plus 39.91. Now, I would take all 4 outside of the parlay and then sprinkle on the parlay, and hopefully it cashes, you guys, because that would be a great day. Let's move on to the Vancouver Canucks taking on the Nashville Predators. Now, you guys threw out Stamkos. I think Stamkos comes out nice and strong. Philip Forsberg as well. The Nashville Predators are the favorite at home. Concerning, right? The Nashville Predators have given us strength this season. They're a minus 152 favorite. Again, you guys, me liking favorites today is just so not like me. You watch every single dog win. I will be kicking myself tonight. But the Vancouver Canucks have so much freaking drama around them. There's no way I want to touch them with a 10-foot pole. I can't believe all the chaos with this team right now. Now, if you're looking for a playmaker for Vancouver, it's Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes has been absolutely lights out. They're rolling in at plus 126 on the money line. Like I said, I can't touch them. Minus 152 here for the Nashville Predators. This total of 5.5. Minus 118 to the over 5.5. And I'm going to isolate here the Nashville Predators in a way to bet them. Demko versus the Predators in his career has gone 4-1. So he's been solid versus them. Goals against average of 2.58 and a 911 save percentage. But I do think the Preds are going to hit him here. If you think they can get 4 goals on him, over 3.5 goals is coming in at plus 130. I do think it's a solid way to go. Looking at the Preds to be able to score on Demko tonight. We've seen Demko in a couple of these games, and I tell you, they're not even high danger shots that he's allowing in some of these games. When we look here at Saros is 7-2 and 1 in 13 games with the goals against average of 277 and a 905 save percentage versus the Vancouver Canucks in his career. So he is a buy-on for me, you guys. I do think Saros should be able to play strong. Now, we did see on the 3rd, just like after the New Year, January 3rd, the Preds win this 3-0. Saros was a net. He stopped all 27 shots on his goal. Now, the 2 prior games versus Vancouver, he did have those struggles. He allowed those goals to come in. So this game does make sense to the over, especially with what we know out of Nashville defensively. They've given up those goals. They've given up, 5 goals in their last 3 games. So they're off the loss to the Anaheim Ducks, in which they allowed the Ducks to score 5 goals, and they only put up 2. So it's hard. I know it's a hard pill to swallow here with the Nashville Predators, but this is, again, a one-off road or home game. 2 road games on either side. So they played 2 on the road. They're back home. They've got 2 on the road with the Sabres on Friday and the Pens on Saturday. So a lot of these teams in really hard scheduling spots, but they need to be able to pull this out. They're sitting 7th in the Central, and they have their advantage at home over out there on the road. They're 12-8-3 at home this season. I know Vancouver's being strong on the road, going 13-7-4, but like I said, drama around this team. Now, road ice has been a huge advantage. The road teams won the last 7. So if you're backing Vancouver, I understand why. You're also getting plus money. They've also won the last 5 in Nashville. But like I said, I just can't get behind them. So for me, it's the Predators in regulation at plus 105, or the Predators team total over 3.5 goals at plus 130, or nothing. Let's look at the Pittsburgh Penguins, you guys. The Pittsburgh Penguins, this is the last game. This one, 9:30 Eastern matchup with the Utah Hockey Club. Now, Nevalkovich and Vejmelka are your goaltending matchups. Looking at this, the Pittsburgh Penguins at plus 118 here on the money line. We do have minus 142 here for the Utah Hockey Club, total of 6.5. Now, you guys know the last game here for the Pittsburgh Penguins just freaking killed me 2 nights ago. This was my game. I thought we would get over 7.5 goals. I was all signed up for a 9-goal game. What happened out there? The Pittsburgh Penguins and the San Jose Sharks actually played defense. We saw 3 total goals with the Penguins losing 2-1. I was just pulling out my hair. I couldn't believe what a low-scoring game we had in that matchup. And now the Pittsburgh Penguins facing Utah. Are we going to see the same thing? The books are juicing the total to the under 6.5 at minus 140, but I can't go there. I do think the Pittsburgh Penguins, they give up too many goals, and they're able to score too many goals against weaker defenses, and that's what we've got in the Utah Hockey Club here. So give me the over 6.5 at plus 114. I'm going to be screaming at my TV. Guaranteed I will be screaming at my TV tonight with this game. Now, because I really would love to get in and out of this game, I do think the first period over 1.5 and both teams to score in the first period is a fantastic way to go. Let's just see if FanDuel has these odds up right now, because they didn't have them up before. And I'm looking for certain prices on the both teams to score in this one in the first period. I want it right around that plus 180. Now, the over 1.5 goals in the first period is minus 122, so you do have to pay the juice. Both teams to score is plus 172. So not as much value as I would like. We know Utah has struggled on their home ice, but at plus 120 or 172, worth a shot. The minus 122 for the over 1.5, probably a solid way to go with this one, because we know the Penguins have been able to get up strong in the first period and let games go. So if they're strong in that first period, score a couple goals themselves, I do think Utah should have a chance, especially with Clayton Keller. I love what Clayton Keller is doing on the season, and Logan Cooley. I'm looking at both of those guys to be able to score tonight. The Pittsburgh Penguins have lost their last 3. Utah, their last two. So something has to break here. In their last game for Utah, they did lose to the Senators in a lower scoring game, 3-1. So they allowed those 3 goals to come in. The Senators have been such a strong under team this season. They really limited Utah's even ability to get those shots. So I'm not surprised the last game went under for them. And then we saw, again, the Pittsburgh Penguins, they've lost their last 3. Monday to the Sharks, it was terrible. And this is the last game of a 7-game road trip. They've gone 2-4 so far on this road trip. There's something about teams that are headed back home where they dig that little bit deeper to try to make it a better road trip. They don't want to head home 2-5. They would rather head home 3-4, of course. So look for them to dig deep. First period over. Both teams to score over. I don't want to touch a side, because this is the first game home off of 3-game road trip for Utah. Not a great situation, but they are coming in off a losing road trip, going 1-2. I wish they were coming in off a winning road trip, because then I'd be all over the Pittsburgh Penguins with that plus money, but I just can't get there. I do think the over in the first period, both teams to score, and then the prop bets. Logan Cooley for an anytime goal. Clayton Keller for the anytime goal. I drawed a blank on his name. Sorry, guys. And Sidney Crosby for the anytime goal. That is where I'll go. Sid was able, he's been able to get us the points and the goals as of late. So I love going with him. You guys, that is all of the games. Only 5 games on deck today. Let's jump into the recap. I want to thank you guys all that have hung out with me for the last 25 minutes. Let's jump into that recap. The LA Kings taking on the Florida Panthers. This should be a tight battle between these two teams. I am looking for Florida to come up with the win. The problem is the juice is so high. I think 3-2 win here for the Florida Panthers. The under should come into play, sitting the under 5-2 in the last 7 meetings, the under 5.5. I do think it has the opportunity of going 2-2 to overtime as well. But the Florida Panthers more likely get a 3-2 win. Give me Sam Reinhart for the anytime goal. Goal number 30 tonight for Sam Reinhart at plus 175. My favorite bet of this game. I will also be live betting whichever team goes down first. The other opponent plus 1.5 on the puck line, because I do think, again, 1 goal game. The Minnesota Wild versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. Give me the Leafs to get the win in a 4-2 style game. I will take the Toronto Maple Leafs on the puck line, laying 1.5 goals at plus 142. The Leafs should win this one, and Austin Matthews will be key. Austin Matthews has been so hot as of late. Give me Austin Matthews for the anytime goal at minus 105 and 2+ points at plus 250. Austin Matthews in his last 10 has 8 goals and 4 assists. When we look at the other side, I do think Matt Boldy can get on the score sheet. 4 goals, 7 assists in the last 10. So you can look at Matt Boldy as well. Kaprizov again out of this lineup for 4 weeks. It should be a game in which Boldy has to step up. Now, the Philadelphia Flyers versus the New Jersey Devils. I do think the Flyers is the right side. You could look at the sudden revenge angle here for the New Jersey Devils with the Flyers just winning on Monday, but I'm not buying into it. I think the Devils are too beat up at the moment, and Jake Allen has not had good stats versus the Flyers. Give me the Flyers to get the win. You're getting them at plus 150, plus 160 on that money line. I do think they can go over 2.5 goals as well. That's coming in at plus 100. If you're looking at a player prop here, Bobby Brink has scored a goal in the last 2 for the Flyers, someone you could circle. You're also seeing Jesper Bratt really stepping up for the Devils if you want to go that way. The Vancouver, and one thing to note, the Flyers have started off slow out on the road as a dog. So if the Devils do go out first, I'll be coming back in on the Flyers, either plus 1.5 or on that money line. If you want to take the Devils first period, I don't blame you. I won't be doing so, though, because Ershon has just such solid numbers versus Devils. The Vancouver Canucks versus the Nashville Predators. Again, I like another favorite here. Hard pill to swallow for me. Give me the Nashville Predators in reg. That's coming in at plus 105. Give me the Predators over 3.5 goals at plus 130. Too much drama around the Vancouver Canucks right now. It's the Preds or nothing for me. And then the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Utah Hockey Club. I do think we get that explosive offensive game that we were hoping for on Monday out of the Pittsburgh Penguins. I will take first period over 1.5 goals. It's minus 122. Both teams to score in the first period coming in at plus 172. I do think both teams probably can score in the first period. I'm looking at those prop bets as well. Sidney Crosby for the anytime goal for the Pittsburgh Penguins will be who I circle. And then Clayton Keller and Logan Cooley here for the Utah Hockey Club. But you guys, that is it for today. I want to thank you all so much for joining me here on Pocket with Joe over on SportsGrid TV. Yeah, the Devils with Jake Allen, it's just not pretty right now. So Jacob Markstrom, hopefully, I haven't seen any updates on when he's going to be back out on the ice. We know we are coming up against Four Nations break soon, so it's a good thing. Lots of people withdrawing from the Four Nations, so really interesting to see. Jesper Bratt shots on goal, maybe. Yeah, Jesper Bratt would be a good one to look at his shots on goal. That number is probably sitting right at 2.5. If it's 3.5 here, I'm not sure if I would take it. I'm expecting the Flyers to try to lock down on the defensive side to be able to get that win, but have the scoring opportunities when they do come up against Jake Allen. So at 2.5, I would take it to the over. At 3.5, I think he probably hits right on that number of 3. But you guys, you all rock. I appreciate you being here. If you can hit that like button, hit that retweet button over on YouTube, if you can subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. And again, drop below what you are liking out there on the ice today. Let's see if you're liking the favorites as well. It's rare for me to like so many favorites in one day, you guys. You guys know I love the plus money with the dogs. So hopefully we find a way to bet these favorites and make some plus money tonight. You guys, I will see you back here tomorrow, noon Eastern, daily here on SportsGrid. And make sure you check out the SportsGrid app. If you haven't downloaded it yet, I don't know what you are waiting for. I'm going to be starting daily videos on Super Bowl props, the fun props, the props we all want to bet, the Gatorade color, the coin flip. And you guys know there you can also grab my best bets, the ones that really matter, who's going to win the Super Bowl, what we're betting for these player props and everything like that. Also, I want to hear you guys weigh in on the poll that I ran the other day over on X. What do you think's more likely? Travis Kelce to get married or to propose to Taylor Swift if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, or Travis Kelce to retire? Or are we doing a same man parlay where Travis Kelce proposes and retires after winning the Super Bowl? And that all comes down to the Chiefs winning. If the Chiefs don't win, there's no way he's getting out on the field and proposing. So you guys, let me know your thoughts on that. But again, thanks so much for joining me here on A Pocket with Jo on SportsGrid TV on X.